4, 3, 2, 1.
From New York, where the city that never sleeps reminds us that kids like ours don't either, comes the show that takes rare diseases seriously and everything else, not so much. It's time for Pain Points. Welcome to Pain Points, where each episode we present just one example of what makes life with a rare disease difficult. And it's important to note, we're not complaining, just explaining. I'm your host, Daniel DeFabio. This time we're discussing how hard air travel can be if you have a rare disease. For our family, my son Lucas not only needed a wheelchair, but he could not sit in any other chair without a lot of recline and special supports to hold him in place. So the airline's idea of accessible travel didn't work for us. Like how this outfit doesn't work for Robert Downey Jr. You may have seen how the airlines think this should work. You need to transfer out of your real wheelchair into the narrow airplane aisle-sized wheelchair they provide. You know, the one that's basically their old soda service cart with the door and the top ripped off and new car smell? No, that's the peanuts. You use this to get to your seat and then transfer and sit stuck there for your whole flight in your seat with no mobility until you land. We would have had an easier time dealing with airline personnel if we'd only thought to put a red vest on Lucas that said, Emotional Support Animal. Almost every flight today has 12 dogs, 8 cats, and a llama that get to fly with no pushback because they've got a note from their vet. This assumption that being ADA compliant means offering us this tiny, weak wheelchair substitute as if one chair fits all, I have strong feelings about this. But I treat those feelings like slices of bread in a toaster. I push them all the way down and forget about them until they start to burn. And there's the added bonus of burning toast smell, letting me know I'm about to have a stroke. Lucas couldn't sit upright in an airplane seat, even if we reclined it to the maximum, all precious 7 degrees of recline. The only air travel solution we could imagine for him was to buy him 2 seats to lay across. And then we imagined all the warnings we'd get from the flight crew. We can't take off until he sits upright. Surely there must be a better way. So far there isn't, and don't call me Shirley. Airplane humor. Meanwhile, your real wheelchair gets checked as baggage at the gate. I've heard from far too many rare disease folks who rely on a wheelchair that discovered theirs was damaged when they deplaned. And so many of them, like Lucas, can't just use a loaner or a substitute basic wheelchair. They need their custom chair. If their chair is no longer working upon arrival, they are stranded. So, instead of risking all that, my family decided to ground ourselves. From age 2 on, we never traveled by air with Lucas. This meant for 9 years, we limited ourselves to destinations we could drive to. Or, we split our family in 2, so one parent traveled by air, the other stayed home with Lucas. But don't take my word for it. Let's go deeper down the rabbit hole with Mandy Korst.
If you were to see me in the airport, your first thought is probably, oh look, it's olive oil. No, not that olive oil. I'm talking about olive oil. I mean, we are both tall, lanky, don't take up too much space. Surely traveling is easy for someone my size, right? But contrary to popular belief, I've never been a light traveler. Traveling in itself is a struggle. But when you add on traveling with a complex medical issue like cystic fibrosis, it can be as challenging and as stressful as herding cats. Besides packing the important things like clothes, toiletries, phone chargers, bathing suit, backup bathing suit in case the other one gets wet, another backup bathing suit in case you don't like how you look in the other 2, the essentials. Imagine trying to remember everything I just listed, plus the life or death essentials like multiple medications, 2 medical devices, cords for everything, nebulizer parts. Oh, and don't forget extra medical supplies or medicine just in case you get sick or something goes wrong. Like, for instance, dropping your insulin, causing it to break, and having to spend the entire day looking for a doctor in Australia who can see you and prescribe you insulin. True story. Or how about arriving at 6 a.m. in Colorado after a 16-hour car ride to find that you lost your feeding tube and need to find a hospital that has a feeding tube in your size in stock before the hole in your body closes. Also a true story. When traveling, I have to bring my nebulizer and a machine called the vest. I know what you are thinking. Wow, is that the latest fashion from Milan? Where can I get such a fashionable work of art? Just skip the avocado toast for the next 10 years or so, and it can be yours. My travel nebulizer is small and can easily fit into a backpack. My vest, on the other hand, is 17 pounds and has its own suitcase that's a little larger than the standard carry-on size. Feels like I'm hauling a boombox around with me, but instead of sick beats, it prevents me from becoming down with the sickness, if you know what I mean. I would say that about half the time I'm traveling through airport security, it gets pulled to the side and swabbed for bomb testing. I know, I'm the bomb. You don't need to test me for that. I'm always expecting it to get pulled to the side, so when it doesn't, I feel like I'm a secret agent that didn't get caught. Now, not everyone who works for security has seen the vest before, so most of the time they ask me what it is. And as much as I would love to answer that it is a bomb, just to see what would actually happen, my therapist tells me these are teachable moments. And when I tell them exactly what it is, a vest that fills with air and shakes me for 30 minutes while helping me cough up huge gobs of mucus, the TSA agent is probably wishing I had said it was a bomb. I travel solo a good amount of the time, so it's usually me bringing a backpack and this large suitcase on board. Think Mary Poppins bag if she was a nurse. Each airline is different, but a lot of them care about the weight. It's 2023, people. Why are we still making comments about weight? I was returning home from a trip, and this time I decided to bring my carry-on luggage and my vest on the plane with me. Medical devices do not count as a carry-on, so I figured I was good. But while I was boarding, a flight attendant told me my bag was too big to come on the plane, and that I shouldn't have 2 suitcases. I told her that inside was a medical device, and I didn't feel comfortable checking it in because you can't trust airlines with your suitcases, especially when said suitcase is worth 10 years of avocado toast. I told her I could open the bag and show her what was inside, but she told me to go sit down. Another flight attendant proceeded to tell me I was lucky because I was able to get on the flight with 2 bags, and that if I was connecting, I probably wouldn't be able to do that again. Now, in moments like this, I think of the wise words of my therapist. Don't get mad, slowly inhale, slowly exhale, and don't forget to get the fancy wet food. This is my therapist, Obi-Wan. He may not be the best therapist, but he is the cutest. That was the last time I carried on an actual suitcase for the plane. Never again. Now I just check my clothes because it's not worth the hassle. Traveling is frustrating, but traveling and getting scolded for doing what you are legally allowed to do really puts a damper on a vacation.